What's good, guys? It's Spud here, and welcome to episode 69 of the Roundup. In today's episode, there has been some ROSTERMANIA news, as a couple of teams have made changes. A couple of people were trialed out. Miami Heretics have re-signed Real after all the drama in the summer. He is just going to be on the bench still, but Real is back on the Heretics until 2028 as well, as obviously he knows now he made a massive mistake leaving in the first place. He's not having the best of years, but hopefully he can bounce back because I do like Real as a player. I think he's very good. And then we'll also be doing our predictions, so it'll be a pretty short episode. Obviously, the Call of Duty action does return this week on Friday. Hopefully, it'll be a good week. I'm not actually 100% sure on what the matches are yet, but we will be doing our predictions after we've talked about all the roster news. If you do enjoy this episode of the Roundup, please do like the video. It's free, it helps me a lot, and also subscribe to the channel. We've also started streaming again on Twitch just twice a week, so if you're interested in the Twitch streams, it's twitch.tv/F1Spud, but most people that watch these videos will already be aware of that. At this moment in time, we're just playing FUT Champs and FIFA. I'd love to bring back the F1 League, but I'm not sure if we're actually going to have the audience to do that. But it's definitely something that we can look at doing in the future. So let's get into the roster stuff. So first of all, Capsidal has been dropped from Vancouver Surge. I feel like he has kind of been I do feel like he has kind of been the scapegoat a little bit. You know, he can't exactly the team have been playing bad regardless. But Capsidal's out. They've obviously trialed a few players. Beans was trialed. Um, but Vancouver Surge are looking have replaced Capsidal. Nero got released by the Royal Ravens. Obviously, we talked about this incident where he's messaged a girl. Um, Apparently that wasn't the reason he got dropped, but a lot of people do think it is. Which is kind of crazy. But he does find himself on a roster, which I think for everyone, that's a good thing. Because it was crazy that, yeah, the message he sent was a bit silly, but he shouldn't be losing his job over it, ultimately. Obviously, we'll talk about who Royal Ravens have um, replaced him with, and it is Fire. So Fire is in the league. He's joined the Royal Ravens. Um, he was their primary target. Obviously, he'd been doing all right in challenges recently. He took part in EWC as well. I don't know if it was last year or the year before. 5 years, I believe it was 5 years. So yeah, it's obviously a good move for Fire to get back in the league. Yeah, obviously the it might not have been on the roster he would have liked to have been on, like an elite roster, but he's in the league, so you get paid. So yeah, he'll be hoping for a good few games. Obviously, they are a good team online, Royal Ravens, but obviously with Nero out and Fire in, they might set up slightly differently. We'll have to just see how it goes. But it's always interesting when there's a few new rosters, I feel like. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Now, we're going to talk about the Falcons situation. Obviously, I did mention that Falcons had a bit of a rough. They've not been good on land. They've been alright online. Inconsistent on land, but still not bad. But they have actually been very poor on land. Stats do show after the first two events, Exnid has the biggest drop off from online KD to LAN KD in the whole league. So obviously that could potentially have an impact on them. That could be a reason as to why they're looking at this. So obviously he's been highly rated in challenges QK4B. I don't know if there's a different way to say that. If I'm being perfectly honest, I'm not sure. But he has obviously been highly rated, and rightly so. He's a very, very good, talented player. But they were trialing him in place of Pred and Exnid, so they've trialed him with Kismet, Pred, and Celium, and with Celium, Exnid, and Kismet. And obviously, like when we get to that, we'll talk about how that worked out for them. But I think it's always good to test out players. But obviously, Pred and Exnid will now know that they are very vulnerable, and especially with the amount of money that they'll be paying Pred. I know he won't be on as much as Celium, but Pred will be on a lot of money. With the Riyadh Falcons, and they want results because Celium's on 700,000 apparently, $700,000. They're gonna want results because they've not had a positive result in the league yet since joining. Now, obviously, they're doing a lot better this season. There's no doubt about that, but still, they want something better. So the original rumor, so Zuma was the one that called that Real was coming back on Heretics, but he actually said that Real was joining to replace Traix. Which I think, obviously I want to see Real in the league. He's good enough to start, obviously. I think he was really good last year, and obviously Metals has had a bit of a rough time recently on the Heretics. But realistically, dropping Traix would have been seriously unfair because I think he's done quite well since joining the league and joining the Heretics. I think it would have been unfair. But obviously, as it turns out, this was not the case and was never the case. They were just signing him to be on the bench. But obviously, Metals is definitely the one to look at because he has been playing pretty poorly recently. Statistically, very, very poor. And obviously, it does give Miami an option if they want to test Real out. I'm sure that they'll do that. And obviously, when Real was announced, he did like apologise to the Heretics fans. He said, he wanted to try something different. He wanted to play speaking with English people, playing with different region, which I can completely understand. And he said it just hasn't worked out, and he apologises for how he left Heretics and everything like that. Well, he didn't leave; he was a free agent, but how he chose Koi's offer over Heretics' offer. And I think that what is life without trying to have a bit of change? That's why personally, like I've said, at some point I do want to move to the sea. Rather than I've lived where I lived my entire life. I want to expand my horizons. I want to find someone to be with. A lot of stuff like that. I don't know why I'm going all into this during a roundup episode, but yeah. Anyway, um, the next thing to talk about is Boston Breach. So Snoopy was released officially. Now, they obviously Purge was on the bench as well. The original rumor was that Afro and Kenny were going to be joining the Breach. Afro was a definite, and then they were going to try and get Kenny in as well. However, somehow Purge has stayed on the roster. I'm not sure how he's done that because he's been terrible all season. But Purge is going to be on the Breach roster still. So the only actual change they're doing after not getting top 10 in the online qualifiers in Major 2 was Snoopy out for Afro. And personally, I just think that this is just going to be pretty underwhelming. I know Afro's done alright so far in Challengers. And obviously he was part of the Challengers team that won in Major 2 with Beans. But still, I'm a bit unsure on this one. I would have been doing the double change. I can't even remember. Oh, Spark, that was it. But yeah, Afro officially joined them. Obviously, Kenny not joining them in the end. There's actually been some different guns as well. Maps. We've got it's not just ROSTERMANIA. We've got some stuff to talk about here. So these are the current guns. Now, I've not played a minute of this game. I don't have Black Ops 7 because I just didn't think I'd play it enough, and I'm only really there to watch the pros. Because I just didn't play Black Ops 6 enough to want to buy Black Ops 7. So that's the current meta being tested. Oh, we went a bit too far there. My mistake. So these are the maps and modes. So Overlord's the same. Then we've got 3 new hardpoint maps: Sake, Clifftown, and Gridlock. I don't know if these are good. Exposure and Black Art are out of hardpoint rotation. With the S&D, we've now got Plaza, Gridlock, and Fringe. With Exposure and Colossus. Wait, Exposure and Colossus. Is that Fringes in Black Ops 3 Fringe? Oh, it actually looks like it is, I'm pretty sure, but it might look a bit different. Well, I'm looking forward to watching Fringe S&D. That's going to be fun. I can't wait for Fringe S&D until all the pros veto it every round. Yeah, that'll be fun. Sure, that one will be fun. Um, the pros are not too happy about the new maps, but they always complain. Like they always complain. These pros, like they're getting paid to play Call of Duty. Like just get on with it. So Fire officially joined the Ravens yesterday, and by the way, the tweet that they didn't even have a video, no AI graphic. It was just, "Oh, Fire's joined the Ravens. We'll make sure to support him. They play tomorrow." It's just like, wow, okay, okay. But yeah, as we said, Falcons have decided to stick with it. Very risky. But that's it really for ROSTERMANIA and for news. Now it's time to do our predictions. How many matches? So obviously, there's going to be less qualifiers now. We're starting at 8 o'clock again for matches. UK time. So we've got 3, 4, 3. So we've got 10. Um, Obviously a few new maps, a couple of new roster changes. I'm surprised Paris Gentlemates didn't make a change, but they've stuck. So let's go Gentlemates, Royal Ravens. Let's go. Well, Royal Ravens are a good online team, but I'm gonna go 3-1 Gentlemates. Obviously, it's gonna be Fire's debut. I will say Gentlemates win this one. Um, Miami Heretics versus LA Thieves. Obviously, Thieves, a lot of pressure on them now. I think they have to show something, otherwise they're going to make roster changes. Obviously, there's some drama with the Beezy recently, but obviously that is he hasn't been dropped or anything because of it. And then there was also the Sugar Daddy drama with Hydra's girlfriend, but it was just fake BS crap. And unfortunately, that's just what happens on the internet these days. Thieves win this one 3-2. I think we do go to a game 5, but Thieves will close us out with a Hydra masterclass in the S&D. Then you have Vancouver Surge versus G2. Obviously, G2 kept their roster the same. Vancouver brought in Nero. I believe it's Nero that's coming in for Vancouver. I'm gonna go with a surprise result, really. I'm going to go with Vancouver Surge actually picking up a win here. I'm going to go with a 3-1. A bit of a surprising result, yeah, I understand that, but I think obviously they might have that new roster bounce. Yeah, let's go 3-1 Surge. We start Saturday with the Major 2 champions phase against Boston Breach. This will be a comfortable 3-0 here for the Major 2 champions. And then we have Koi versus Falcons, which will be an exciting matchup. Obviously, Koi had a good major. Falcons didn't. Obviously, Falcons with them roster change potentially on the way. I'm going to go with Koi winning this one 3-1. I just think there's a bit of negativity in the Falcons camp at the moment, and I think Koi will take good advantage of that and win this one. And then we have Paris versus G2. Again, decent series. I'm gonna go with Gentlemates here 3-1, but it could go either way. Then we have Surge versus Ravens. It'd obviously be a nice one for Nero if he could start off with a win. Unfortunately, though, I think Royal Ravens will beat Surge here. And I've got this one as a 3-2. Game 5 win here for the Ravens. Exceed and Lurks and Craze and Fire. Koi versus Boston Breach. I'm going to go 3-0 here to Koi. I think it's going to be a rough first weekend for Boston Bridge, and they'll regret not dropping Purge as well. Like putting him in the putting him back in the lineup after benching him. It's a bit weird. 3-all Koi. Falcons Fares. I think this one will actually be a close 3-1. Let's say a close 3-1 here to Fares. I'm pretty happy with that prediction. The final match is Optic versus Cloud9. A nice 3-0 Optic here to finish off the weekend. I've completely forgot. Obviously, Cloud9 have had a bit of time to practice. They obviously did get progressively better during the split, but I think Optic will obviously be wanting to bounce back after back-to-back second places so far this season, and obviously carry on getting a lot of CDL points. So I'm going to go with 3 Optic. Obviously, no MVP ladder or Rookie of the Year ladder. No new rookies, is there? I've not missed any ROSTERMANIA, have I? I don't think there's any more rookies. So obviously, Rookie of the Year race is very, very interesting right now. Obviously, for me, I have no idea who's going to win it. I think it's going to be between. I think it's going to be Kips, but we'll have to see. I think if one of them could win an event, Kips on Whim, then that could change it. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you next week for episode 70, by the way. Crazy. We'll probably get to like episode 85, 82, 83. I don't know. Also, we've got minor tournaments this split. So minor 3 and minor 4. There'll obviously be something to look forward to. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Please like the episode if you enjoyed it. Comment who you think's going to win some games this weekend. Who's your MVP of the week going to be? And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you.